Is being a virgin in your mid-late 20s, or just your 20s in general, really that bad? I hope this isn't coming off as rude in any way. Especially coming from someone in the same boat, still a virgin in their mid-20s, but feel like I always see posts on Reddit of people in their 20s or even mid-late 20s talking about how they're still virgins and feeling bad about it. Maybe it's just me, but like I feel bad about it at times on if it's ever gonna happen with someone I care about. But I also might be demisexual, asexual, and at times I just really don't care or even think about it too much and just focus on other things in my life like my hobbies. I feel like if some people know or figure it out, they think something is wrong with the person or make rude comments, probably projecting IDK, but at the end of it all, I feel like it would happen eventually, or there are more mature people out there that don't think much of it either. But IDK, is it really that bad though when actually thinking about it? At times I just really don't care or even think about it too much. I would encourage you to adopt this attitude as strongly as possible and consistently as possible, and with as many things as possible. Comparing your timeline of major life events with others is a recipe for anxiety and poor self-esteem. Don't allow what other people might think about you to influence how much power you give something. Comparison is the thief of joy. A lot of men feel bad about being virgins because they're made to feel bad. There's loads of virgin shaming going around and has been for quite some time. No. You can be a virgin at any point and it doesn't reflect on your abilities, skills, character, or personality. You are a whole person whether you are a virgin or not. A relationship? In this economy? I can barely afford groceries. It's not the fact that you haven't had sex that gets men to feel ashamed about being virgins. It's the implication that no one is willing to sleep with you, thus further implying that there is something wrong or undesirable about you. That leads to shame. I'm 26 and a virgin. I don't feel like it's a big thing. When I find a partner, it will happen, so I'm just slowly working on the former. However, I am worried about my performance being inadequate when it does happen simply because of no experience. It's a funny thing when it's a first time for both. But when that's not the case, it will kinda be embarrassing. IDK. Rank competitive sex anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing is bad. It's just a life experience you haven't had yet. If you want me to devil's advocate, one could argue that it's better to have life experiences around the same time as your peers, just for socialization purposes. But there are tons of outliers. And you're not like crippled or a failure if you are one. That said, sex is fun. And while virginity isn't something to stress about losing, it's also not something to stress about keeping. No, there is nothing wrong with being a virgin. It's your choice what to do with your body, and maybe you just don't want sex or feel the need for it. Or maybe you want to but want to only have it with the right person, and that's all right too. I've heard that many men are feeling insecure about being virgins. Maybe that's where the sentiment comes from. IDK. For reference, I am in the mentioned age group, female and a virgin, and don't really think about it. In your place, I wouldn't waste my time worrying about it. Is being a virgin bad? The answer is always no. Anybody who would shame you for the lack of sexual partners you've had isn't worth your time at any age. If it don't bother you, then it isn't bad at all. Most adult men and women value sexual intimacy, so it's a big what if to get involved with a virgin. That's probably the hesitation that you're feeling. I was in a frat in a party school in college. The dudes who bragged about getting laid a lot and shamed virgins. The women they fucked were hardly more attractive than Shrek with a wig on. So no real accomplishment. My grandma was a virgin till the day she died. Didn't affect her anyway. Keep it sacred until it's your time. Don't rush anything you're gonna regret, and don't let anyone else rush you into anything. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin, no matter the reason, as long as you are satisfied. A friend of mine reached 30 while virgin and his pocker fell off. When I heard that, I knew I instantly had to hurry. Thus sent a message to Sally Salzberg, an old college, to get a coffee. I was until 36, and while I felt deprived, no, it wasn't so bad. More or less I was fine. It's honestly not a big deal and nobody's business but yours. It's also not a great skill you need to have 50k hours of practice at to be good at it and enjoy it. Listening and talking is enough. Don't cave into peer pressure, you'll know when it feels right. 27F virgin and plan to stay that way personally. I find sex to be pretty gross and invasive to me. If you want it, you'll find the right person, place, time to have it eventually. If not, then I wouldn't even bother worrying about it, because you're worth more than a virginity status. Either way, like the old saying goes, the people who mind won't matter. And the people who matter won't mind. No. But the sooner you get it over with, the sooner you'll realize it's not as big as a deal as you're making it and stop ruminating. It's only bad if it's involuntary. That usually means you have an unlikable personality or are way too shut in. And that's where the stigma is coming from. If you're simply choosing not to when you can, then there's nothing wrong with it. You do you. No. Be a virgin as long as you can. People who just have sex to get points don't value themselves or their partners. Sex should be special. It should mean something. It's always better when you're in a committed relationship. When you know the person inside and out. When you have a real bond. No. This is your life. Live it according to your rules. There is no shame in being a virgin for as long as you want. Not sure why people care if they aren't being affected. We gotta end virgin shaming. I don't think it's a bad thing I'm 23. Same boat, I really don't like hookup culture, it's gross and I'm waiting for marriage. Also, I feel like some people may feel bad BC they aren't confident in who they are. Personally, I think my self-esteem is pretty high and people get surprised I'm a virgin BC they think I'm pretty. And people will always try and make you feel bad about stuff like drinking too. I don't drink, and people look at me weird and even stop inviting me to things. Just be sure to know who you are, and if you feel bad about it, maybe work on yourself and not just physical appearance. I think it shows crazy high self-control. It's not objectively bad or good. It's just another experience in a person's history. Like I've eaten sushi before or I've crocheted a scarf before. It matters to some people and you can decide if it matters to you or not, but don't worry about comparing yourself to others. And don't have an experience just for the sake of having it. I'm in literally the same situation, like even down to thinking I'm demisexual, asexual. So you're not alone on it. Sometimes I don't feel a little bad embarrassed by it, but typically couldn't care less. I only feel bad when someone is intentionally trying to make me feel bad. And that's because I am human and have feelings. I lost my virginity at 18. Will never forget the night. For all the wrong reasons. I'd rather have waited and been a virgin for many more years than experience that again. Nope. As someone who was a virgin until I was 21, it gave me more time to focus on myself as a person and live my life. You're no less of a person just because you lack sexual experience. Nope. I was till I got married at 27. Still happily married 10 years later. No. It just means you didn't jump into bed with the first person who was willing to play with your jiggly bits. Now, it might be a sign of other issues. So I'd want to do a bit of introspection. But it's not inherently good or bad.